This is for our kindergarten through 4th grade leaders for February week 2, Valentine's Day. All month long, we are learning about the life app of kindness, showing others they are valuable by how you treat them. And we have a memory verse for this month. Really quick, Trip, will you show the camera on me? Can you hold this? Yeah. Okay, I have a helper today. I'm going to show you guys the motions that we learned last week for the memory verse. And that way, this week, you can practice them with your small group. So here's what we taught them last week. You are God's chosen people. You are holy and dearly loved. So put on tender mercy and kindness as if they were your clothes. Don't be proud. Be gentle and patient. Colossians 3:12. So that's our memory verse for this month. Hopefully, some of the kids remember those motions from last week, and you can keep learning them this week. Okay, so this week our story is all about Ruth and Boaz, who are actually the great-grandparents, I believe, of David. So they are in Jesus' line. And our bottom line is, be kind to your family and friends. So Boaz showed much kindness to Ruth and her mother-in-law, Naomi. And that's what this story is about for this week. And our bottom line is, be kind to your family and friends. So as kids come in, make sure that you welcome them all by name. Take a few minutes before they get here and pray for the kiddos that are going to be joining us this week. Just asking for patience and just that kids would walk away knowing that they are valuable to God and they can make others feel valuable to God. Then as they come in, some icebreaker questions. What's your favorite thing to do with your family? What's your favorite place to go together? What's your favorite meal to eat? Boys, out of the room while I'm doing this. Thank you. What games do you play? And then for the older kids, you can greet them by name, and you can give them a series of challenges to rate from 1 to 5. 1 being the easiest, 5 being the hardest, and then they can attempt the challenges to see if their ratings are accurate. So saying the alphabet in one breath, making a taco with your tongue, standing on your foot, 1 foot for 30 seconds, and so on. Just kind of challenging them. Then when service starts at 9 and 11, you are going to do a little opening activity. You're going to prompt kids to think of any type of action, and then you're going to call on kids as their ideas pop up and let them silently act out their kind action while the group tries to guess what it is. So some examples might be sweeping the floor, giving a hug, writing a note, folding the laundry. You might have to kind of get the kids started and thinking. And you're just going to close that down by saying, you guys did a great job acting out the kind things that you can do for others. You also did a great job seeing someone else doing something kind and recognizing what that was. Well, we're going to go to large group and hear a story about how to be kind even when it's really hard. So then you will head to a large group. When you get back, you have 2 options for activities this week. I wasn't sure that the younger kids could do this paper chain, so that's why I did this game. The boys might be more interested in this game than the paper chain. You can do both if you have time. You can pick whichever one you would like. The first one is a little relay race. So in each room, you have a bucket with all these pool noodles in it. And you're going to split kids into, it says 3 or 4 teams. Maybe try to do like 5 or 6 kids per team if you're able to. And then you're going to line up that bucket so that it's at the other end of the room. And you're going to assign, it says assign each team a bucket and have kids sit down single file behind their bucket. There's just going to be one, boys, can you please go out in the hallway? Go out in the hallway. There's just going to be one bucket for all the teams. So what you're going to do is you're going to read the statements below one at a time. For each true statement in today's Bible story, the first kid in line for their team is going to race and get a piece of barley, which is what Boaz gave to Ruth. So they're going to race down and try to get a noodle. And the first team to get to the noodles wins that noodle for their team. So they're going to race down to get it before the other teams and then race back to put it in their basket. They're just going to put it in front of their line. If the kids start to run and the statement is false, you can let them go. But if they get the barley, they don't get to keep it because it wasn't true. So the team at the end with the most pieces of barley wins. Then there's a bunch of true, false statements about the story. So basically after the first kid in line gets a true statement and runs down and gets a chance to get a piece of barley, they'll go to the end of the line and the next kid will go. And you'll just close this down by saying, wow, you guys were so good at that game and so fast. And you guys listened well to our Bible story today. Ruth was kind to her family member Naomi. She could have just left her, but instead she stayed with her and cared for her. And Boaz was kind to his family by letting Ruth pick grain in his fields and by marrying her so he could protect her. There are so many ways you can be kind to your family and friends. And another activity that you can do in addition to that or instead of that, Trip, please stop, is to give, we'll have these little paper strips cut out, and each kid gets 2 or 3 paper strips. And on the strips, they're going to write a way that they could show kindness to a friend or family member this week. And then you can tape or staple the strips together to make a little paper chain, and just kind of the same closing there for that activity. So 2 choices for a review activity. You can pick either or both. Then for the memory verse game, we have these pieces of the memory verse that say, so put on tender mercy and kindness as if they were your clothes. And there's 6 parts to that. And they're going to be on the back of some oversized shirts. And what you're going to do is you're going to have 6 kids put on the shirts, and you're going to have them mix around the room and then line up so that their backs are to the rest of the group. So they don't know what order they're in, the kids that have the shirts on. And then the kids that don't have shirts on are going to mix the kids up. And actually, just now as I'm thinking this, so that we could play the game more than once, instead of having the kids put shirts on, I think we'll just tape these to the back of the shirts that kids have on. I know the whole object is to put on tender mercy and kindness, but we'll say, just like you put on your clothes, we're going to tape these to your clothes. That way, when you're done with one round, you can just take the papers off and put them on new kids. So the kids that don't have the papers on their back are going to instruct the kids with papers on their back how to get into the right order for that part of the verse. And then just practice the verse several times with the motions and maybe different voices. And you'll just say, last week we learned that God chose us. Well, this week we're learning that we can choose to put on kindness. Just like we choose to put on our clothes and which clothes we want to wear, we can choose tender mercy and kindness in the same way. So what are some ways we can choose to put on kindness around our family? What are some ways we can put on kindness around our friends? Okay? And then finally, you will just close down in prayer. Gather kids in a circle. Let each kid name one person in their family or a close friend. And keep going until kids can't think of something anymore. And then close by reminding kids that one of the ways to show kindness for people we love is to pray for them. And then just close it out with a prayer in your small group. So that's it for this week, guys. I will have all of those things listed on the board for your group. Thank you so much for serving this week. We have special treats for all the kids as they leave kids ministry with balloons and fruit snacks for Valentine's Day. So we are so grateful for all of you, and we'll see you on Sunday.